Robert Bierenbaum, Dr. Hero, but all that glitters is not gold. This proverb sums up a lot of things for us, about human beings in general and about your dealings with people in particular. Important, Jill Katz Bierenbaum was a beautiful intellectual woman with a strong presence and great attractiveness. It is enough to enter into a small conversation with her to realize how interesting and impressive she is. It is not surprising to learn that over the course of her years of studying at the Faculty of Nursing, dozens of young people had approached her. Directly or indirectly, they asked her to connect, but to no avail. The heart of a generation is tied to a young man, orphaned by his desires. Close to a generation there, in nursing school, Robert Bierenbaum sat on his usual bench in the college lawn, venting some of the trouble of work. He is Dr. Robert, but the genius Dr. Robert, the first superintendent of students in the Faculty of Nursing, and the most attractive and handsome young man in it. Not only that, Robert was a skilled pilot, licensed to fly with a certificate of experience. He was also fluent in 5 languages, in addition to being one of the best ice skaters in the region at the time, and an expert cook with a certificate of tastes. We can say that Robert Bierenbaum, as it is said, is in every sense of the word. Dear reader, you can now guess what will happen. Certainly, and as you think and believe, Jill was able to attract Robert's attention and snatch him for herself from the circle of girls around him. But it was not a trick, cunning, and one-sided love. Robert had also won the love of a generation from him, and he loved her. In front of both sexes, Robert and Jill Bierenbaum announced their engagement and later married shortly afterwards. The Bierenbaums' lives were the focus of everyone's watch, especially the waiters who have not yet given up hope in one of these couples. But of course, a year after that marriage, both Robert and Jill were an example of happy married life. This was evident from the testimony of everyone. Hello dear Jill K. Alan, I'm completely collapsed. I feel my breath choking. Damn it, what's wrong with you, honey? Am I coming to you? Jill's sister, Alan Katz, remembers the terrifying phone call she received that day, after Robert tried to drown Jill's cat in the bathtub, arguing that his wife cared more about the cat than he did. Although Jill had a very difficult time pronouncing her words because of her wailing and crying. However, she began to justify Robert and defend him fiercely, especially when her sister told her that she would call the police. No, please Ellen, don't do it. This may be the right thing to do. Ellen, listen, maybe he is right. Maybe lately I've been less interested in him. I didn't give him enough love, so he was jealous of the cat. Now everything will be fine. Surely this will make him feel comfortable after he gets rid of it. I will try to fix things myself, but don't tell the police, Alan, please. Jill, don't be stupid. First he strangled the cat, and later he would suffocate you. Your husband is deranged and sick. I can't believe how anyone can be jealous of a small animal. Just a summer cloud. Robert is smart and loves me, and I love him too. I'm going to get him to get over this. We'll get through it together. You also know how much we both love each other. Alan was so shocked by what she heard that at first she thought it was a silly prank by her sister. Like everyone around her, she believed that both the Bierenbaums were living happy, quiet and happy lives. But the reality of the matter was very different from what it seems. From the first months of marriage, Jill discovered that the young Robert, whom she adored and cared about, was nothing but a mass of imbalances and psychological complexes that needed supernatural abilities to solve and deal with. But in some way, Jill convinced her husband Robert to go to a therapist. She told him that the pressure of work and the burdens that weigh on his daily life may be the reason for what he's going through. Robert Bierenbaum underwent several sessions of psychotherapy. One day, as Jill was breathing a sigh of relief and calm from the sessions she was after, she received a letter from her husband's therapist. The content of the letter was a stern warning in which the therapist asked Jill to leave her husband immediately. He explained that he became worried that Robert would cause her some harm, and that harm might be a murder in which the victim was played. He explained to her that Robert had psychosis. It is in advanced and dangerous stages. From there, Jill realized that love alone was not enough to last, and that her leaving to Robert became a necessity for her. So, Mr. Robert, are you saying that your husband is gone? True, about 3 days ago, after I came home from a short tour of Central Park, I wanted some time to myself to catch my breath after a hard week of work. When I came back, she was at home. We had a simple fight, like any couple, and then she left the house and never returned. At first, I thought she wanted to get rid of the charged atmosphere of the house, but she never returned, and she was never at the home of her parents, sister, or any of her friends. I'm very worried. Please help me. This conversation took place on July 7, 1985, specifically at the New York Police Department, when Robert came in to report the disappearance of his wife Jill. For many, Mrs. Bierenbaum's disappearance was strange and unexpected for a happy wife with a competent man. As for the police, they did not pay attention to the matter, except for some superficial and non-serious investigations. They believed that Jill had fled with someone else to another place to live a new life. But one of New York's top detectives, Andy Rosenzweig, had a different sense and vision, but with little data in his hands, he was forced to bow to the fait accompli. In any case, the days have passed, and neither Jill, nor her body, nor any evidence that might indicate her has been found. She disappeared like a scatter of ashes from the top of the peaks. Later, the rumor that Robert Bierenbaum's wife had eloped with her lover intensified. This led to the girls flying around Robert again. In 1990, the grieving husband moved from New York to Las Vegas to escape the winks and whispers that accompanied him after his wife's disappearance and the ridicule and shame that disclosed him. There he met chiropractor Dr. Stephanie Youngblood. It didn't last long before the two started dating. Robert Bierenbaum's new relationship with Stephanie was frighteningly solidifying and developing. That relationship quickly turned into a marriage, which is rare in Western societies, as the majority of them do not think about marriage until after a long period with their partner, and maybe the children themselves attend their parents' wedding. In any case, like Jill, Stephanie saw Robert as the perfect catch, with all his traits and qualities, and that marrying him is the best step she has taken in her life. But then the mask began to slip. What's the matter, doctor? Is there anything wrong with Robert? Mrs. Stephanie, I'm sorry for what I'm going to tell you, but since I'm Robert's therapist, I have to tell you the truth. It's bigger than just a psychological crisis, right? True. Your husband, Mr. Robert, is psychotic first-rate, and completing your life with him is very dangerous. You should separate from him and take this report to the welfare department. He can then undergo long treatment sessions to alleviate his symptoms and to ensure that he does not harm anyone. Again, I'm sorry for that. Once again, Robert returns home to discover that Stephanie has decided to leave him. She left him a letter in which she regretted what she had done. Stephanie explained that her love for him has not changed and that she has not cheated on him or thought of cheating on him during the time she has been with him as a wife. But she is forced to leave with abundant expressions of great regret. In any case, whether out of love or pity, God knows best, Stephanie refused to obey Robert's psychiatrist and kept quiet about his condition before leaving the city altogether. Because there is no old and new is repeated, the gentle sex is back in the life of Robert Bierenbaum. It was in 1996 when he married Dr. Janet Shalit, a gynecologist whom he had met in Las Vegas. As mentioned above, Janet became infatuated with him and quickly married him. Perhaps Robert's behavior this time was more disciplined and controlled. This led them to having a baby girl, then move to the city of Minot, where Robert will be called a superhero. This happened after he rescued a child who fell into a tiger cage at a zoo. This time, the couple's life went quietly, and Janet was indeed happy to marry Robert. Within 2 years, the genius doctor and superhero, as he was called there, had become very popular, especially after he moved with his wife to North Dakota. No one knows in particular how Robert overcame his psychosis or how Janet adapted to them, but what is known